will have to just drive to the hospital at this point.
Hey guys, so today's the 27th of Feb. I'm in hospital. I've been having contractions all sort of half of this day basically. I honestly thought it was just false labor, but at the rate that things are going. In fact, my gynae just came in and confirmed that we're having this baby today. Promise, I'm only 32 weeks and 5 days. They gave me a steroid shot so the baby's lungs can sort of like develop and stuff, but we obviously don't have time to just let that, we don't have time to let that sort of do what needs to be done. So it's a definite NICU. Total preemie. I'm freaking out. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm nauseous. Everything I've tried to eat, I've just thrown up. This came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I was just having a regular day at work and then bam, here I am. We don't have nappies, clothes, nothing. We're here with K-Bear and Peanut. It's another contraction. They've really tried everything to stop these contractions and it just keeps going. The contractions are getting stronger.
Dizzy gets in the car, grabs the car key. I didn't even say thank you to anybody. I was in just so much pain. I just got in the car and he slammed that car, okay? Went to go fetch Cables Bunny. Thankfully, she was right there by the reception. Dizzy runs in, doesn't even switch off the engine, grabs K-Bear, gets in the car, and we are going. He was driving probably at like 160 kilometers an hour. Hazards on, flashing for everybody to move out of the way because it was that crazy. While we were driving, every single hump felt like we are climbing over a mountain, and I have knives stabbing me everywhere. I was in so much pain. I was so hot. We were blasting the air conditioner on like super cold. I'm trying to be as composed as I possibly can because I don't want to freak Cables Bunny out. Also, we couldn't leave her in school. It was just such a messy situation. We couldn't leave her in school, but I didn't want to freak her out, and she was legit freaking out. I swear I need to take this girl to therapy. At one point I turned to look at her and she was sitting like this. And I was like, I can't help it. Like, I really can't help it. I'm in so much pain right now. And with the air conditioner still blasting on super cold, I was sweating. Guys, I don't mean like when you feel yourself sweating. No, I was so dripping sweat. And I'm like, this is not okay. Something is not right. Anyway, while we're driving, I couldn't breathe. So I'm reaching for the window thing so I can open the window because even this cold air that's coming from the air conditioner still doesn't feel like it's cold enough to let me breathe it in. I don't know if that makes sense, but I remember opening the window and feeling like the air so humid, which is crazy because we live in Joburg. There's no humidity here. The air is dry AF. I remember opening the window and feeling like the air is so humid and it's so heavy to breathe it in. I turned to Dizzy with like tears on my eyes, like I can't breathe. And he is freaking out, but he is trying his best to just be chilled and be composed. And eventually I'm just like, you know what? I mean, there's really nothing we can do at this point. We just need to get to the hospital as fast as we can. It took, I think, 36 minutes to get there. GPS said, but Dizzy probably drove that in like 10 to 15 minutes. And when we got to the hospital, he just parked by the drop-off, got out, and I couldn't even walk at this point. Like, I legit could not walk. I was just leaning on him, and he's like, let's try to walk. I'm like, I can't, like, I cannot. Not that I don't want to, I'm not able to at this point. Just as we're discussing, we're trying to figure out what to do because there wasn't anybody at the reception at the time. These two nurses came and they're like, do you need help? And we both just said, yes, please. And they grabbed a wheelchair. I hate being wheeled. I hate it. I don't know. I hate not being able to do stuff myself, and being pushed on a wheelchair is literally like an all-time low for me. At that point I couldn't even complain. I was like, yes, sit on a wheelchair, went to whatever room they call it, they put me on a non-stress test. This nurse is trying to understand what's happening. I'm trying to tell her what's happening, but I'm in so much pain that I can't. And so I'm saying to this, can you try and tell her like what's been going on? In the car while we're driving, I was throwing up. I was so nauseous and so dizzy. I feel like I was in so much pain. I was this close to passing out, but then I was so nauseous that I just threw up. Thankfully I still had that plastic that was holding my lunch, I don't even know what happened to it. Poor Dizzy probably had to throw it out. That man is probably scarred. He's scarred right now. And so Dizzy's trying to tell her what's been happening, and she's trying so hard to be understanding, and she's explaining to me, I can't really give you pain medicine right now because we don't exactly know what's going on. I need to check on the baby and do a non-stress test, and then I've talked to your gynae. She said do a non-stress test, hook her up on a drip, get her hydrated, because Dizzy told him I was throwing up, and as we're talking to her, I was still just throwing up. And at this point it hurt so bad to throw up because one, my tummy was empty, and two, I was throwing up while getting contractions. It was just a mess. She hooks me up to a non-stress test real quickly. I'm literally having to take off my dress. I was this close to saying just cut it off, just cut it. Taking off my dress, I put on that hospital gown, and they hook me up to the non-stress test. In a moment I'm thinking non-stress tests have to run for like 15 minutes or so before they can do anything. And I said to her, can I get anything for the pain? Like, give me anything. Still pain, Panado, anything. Give it to me. She's like, I can't. Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad because I was in so much pain. But also I understood, and because I was so worried for baby surprise, I'm like, do what you need to do, but do it fast. Did the non-stress test, and she was right there with us trying to keep the conversation going. Dizzy was also in and out because, for one, we had to find a spot for K-Bear to sit. It just felt too traumatic to have her in that room, so he was in and out trying to find a spot for her to sit. Eventually I think he bought her something from the vending machine, and she just sat by the reception area, and then he had to go fill up the form and open a file or whatever. I don't really remember, but he had to do all of that. Each time he comes back there's a drip or something, you know. But eventually the non-stress test that was finished, it's checking the baby's heartbeat, which looked really good at the time, and my contractions were still coming. They were high and consistent and still going. The nurse ran to my gynae's office, quickly came back with these little pills to try and stop the labor. I'm taking those pills, they put on the drip. They basically at this point doing anything and everything to try and get me comfortable. Gave me what did she give me? She gave me the drip to hydrate me, gave me a pain shot because the pills would have taken forever, but the pain was still coming. And so after 10 minutes, she's like, are you still in pain? I'm like, yes, give me the pain medicine, do something. She's like, but I gave you pain meds like 10 minutes ago, you should be fine. I'm like, I'm not fine, I'm far from fine. Do I look fine to you? I get so snappy when I'm in pain and getting impatient. She goes back to my gynae, and she was downstairs and like probably like 10 minutes or so. She's like, okay, we're trying to stop labor, just keep taking what they're giving you, and then I'm gonna come back and check up on you after I'm done with this client. I'm obviously getting admitted. They wheel me into our room, the private room. Thank goodness Katie, the one who was living her best life on the lazy boy. They wheel me back, and I'm still in so much pain. I'm swallowing these pills that they're giving me, but at this point I'm so tired from being in so much pain that I am dozing in and out. Plus the pain injection, the pain med injection they gave me makes you drowsy as is. Majority of the stuff, to be honest, are still a blur. I'm not necessarily sure what happened. I remember one nurse coming in to give me the steroid shot, or they gave it to me while I was still downstairs, while I was still doing the non-stress test. I don't remember, but I remember her saying, we're gonna give you the steroid shot just in case we have to deliver the baby. You're gonna get one now, and then you're gonna get another one tomorrow. We're trying to stop the labor. And I remember her saying it's gonna sting. It stung so bad. I was like, what? You said it was gonna sting a little bit. That is not a little bit. It didn't help that the pain shot they gave me also stung so bad. I was literally like, wow, okay, that is intense. I think around, I don't know, I sent Dizzy my CAMF authorization number at like 3 p.m. because then, you know, things were getting real. I think my gynae then came back around 4 or 4:30 or something. They were still continuing doing non-stress tests and giving me these pills to try and stop the labor. My gynae came downstairs to check up on my cervix, which she could not find. She's like, your cervix has moved somehow, I don't know what's going on here. Check up on the baby's heartbeat was fine, and she's like, you know what, I'm starting to get worried about your C-section scar because these contractions are too strong, and yet your cervix is not dilating. It's just gonna stretch you out and stretch you out, and the scar might end up thinning, and at that point it's gonna be a matter of choosing a life. It's either we save you or we save the baby, and we don't really want it to come to that point. So I'm like, no, we don't. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna give it another 30 30 minutes, and then if this is still going, we're gonna have to deliver. It's unfortunate, it's gonna have to be a NICU baby because it's too early, but we don't want to get to a point where we have to choose a life. And I'm like, I cannot disagree with that. And so she left. I think in a matter of like 20 minutes or so, she was back and she's like, okay, this has to be done now. We moved from we're gonna give it another 30 minutes to this has to be done right now. So many things that are blurry, you guys, I'm not even lying. I remember Peanut being there, Dizzy saying he needs a nappy change and him trying to go get his nappy changed, but then everybody just coming into the room and saying this has to be done right now. And I'm like, what about the kids? Like, what are we gonna do with the kids? We are here with our 2 kids, we don't have anybody else. And my midwife was still calling me and I was trying to give her updates and stuff. And so I ended up getting off the phone with my midwife. I'm calling my friend, like, friend, where are you? Can you get to the hospital like right now? We need somebody to look after the babies while we go to surgery. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna come through right there and then. She dropped what she was doing to get to us, but obviously it was a matter of it has to be done now kind of thing. We quickly made peace with the fact that Dizzy might miss the birth.
We have to have the baby. I'm really legit honestly freaking out. All happening so fast, also overwhelming. I don't even know if I'm processing these emotions right now, but all I know is we're about to have ourselves a preemie little dumpling.
They're wheeling me out. My gynae at the time was already in theater, already scrubbing and doing whatever else they do. Dizzy is with me now, walking next to me, holding Peanut. Cables Bunny was still in the room. We're sitting there in silence because we're all just trying to process what's happening. And this nurse, the one that was at the reception for admitting into the room, is like, you know what? Your kids look really, really sweet. It's fine. I'll take care of them for you guys while you're in the op. I nearly cried. And the sad thing is, I was so out of it, I don't even remember which nurse it was. She quickly grabs the baby. Dizzy goes into theater to do whatever else he needs to do and like get dressed and stuff. Now it's all systems go. The guy who does the spinal block is explaining to me what's gonna happen. I remember the pediatrician being combination of being angry as well as worried that we didn't give the steroids enough time to work for the baby's lungs. And my gynae then explaining to him that it's a matter of pretty much life and death at this point. It has to be done, and him understanding but not being happy with the situation, you know. My gynae is literally one of the most chilled people. All of this is happening and she's standing right there in front of me and she's like, how are you feeling? You're gonna do the spinal block, like literally talking like that, and so calm. And she's giving me a pillow, telling me to tag my head, and they're doing the spinal block and everything, and this is right there next to me. Everything is just happening so fast. So anyway, long story short, I couldn't even hold his hand at this point because they had to do the blood pressure and my hand was doing the drip on the other side, and I was so out of it. I was literally falling in and out of sleep. Everybody sounded just so far away. Dizzy leaned in to say a few things, like he kept leaning in to say something to me. In fact, he did say something, I just don't remember what he was saying. And then at like 25 minutes after 7 p.m. baby surprise was born. Baby was born weighing 2.14 kgs and measuring at 45 centimeters. It's a tall preemie and also very chunky for a preemie. I remember Dizzy squinting and looking at the time and saying 25/7. Guy who does the spinal block was so good with explaining everything, but I said to Dizzy, please just listen to him because I cannot hear a thing. I'm not necessarily too sure about what's going on right now, but listen to him. You'll fill me in later. He said, do you want me to take pictures? And he grabbed the phone. We didn't even have a camera at the time. He grabbed the phone and he took a few snaps of baby surprise. When baby surprise was born, a little cry came out, which was so reassuring, but because it was too early, I think the little lungs then collapsed a bit, and then there was this good few seconds that felt like a lifetime where everybody was just quiet in the room. And then the pediatrician said, baby's pinking up, that's good. There was a bit of a struggle to breathe, but that's perfect, we're gonna assist with oxygen. And then baby surprise was like crying, gurgling and doing all of that stuff, and I was so relieved. I could scream with joy. I was so relieved. I knew it wasn't going to be like an easy thing. I was honestly really concerned for the lungs at that point, but I knew just looking at that pediatrician, even though I've never met him before, and he was so relaxed, even though he was so mad about the situation, but he was still so relaxed. And so they did what they had to do, cleaned up baby surprise, brought the baby to me so I can like have a good view. It was so weird because I couldn't even move my hands or anything or lean in for a kiss or anything, none whatsoever. And so they took baby into the little NICU thingy, and Daisy had to go with them obviously to go see where the baby is going, what they're gonna do, and all of that fun stuff. And then he had to fill up all the forms and make labels or stickers or whatever they call it. Thank goodness that we had already decided on a name at that time, so he knew what to fill in. We had decided we'll just get his family, his mom, to give another name, and so she did. And then he did the whole registration process while I stayed downstairs or in the theater. I don't know if it's upstairs or downstairs, but in the theater, so they can obviously close me up and stuff. But even then, after he was gone, I was so out of it. I think I slept for a bit, or I passed out, or I don't know. Nobody was panicking, so I was probably just in and out of drowsiness and sleep because of all the medicine, all the stuff they were giving me before to try and stop the labor. But it was so intense, everything was just such a blur. I don't even remember when I got back upstairs or back to the room. I just remember being in the room and the nurses saying, your friend came and took the kids. I checked my phone and she had texted to say they are eating food somewhere, I don't even know where. Then I texted her back and said, look, I'm back in the room, so if you guys are ready, you can come back up. But I was just so out of it. I don't remember what I was talking to her about. I remember just falling in and out of sleep, and I don't even know what happened to the kids. Dizzy came back. Did he come home? Where did the kids sleep? I honestly have no idea. I think Dizzy came home with the kids and they just slept here or something. I didn't even see baby surprise throughout that night, and I couldn't obviously move. Yeah, I think Dizzy came home. They slept here instead of sleeping in hospital because the nurses had to come in and out to check my blood pressure, to make sure that I was okay, and all of whatever else they do. The funny thing is, I had nothing while I was in hospital. I literally, the only thing that belonged to me was my underwear and my bra and my dress, and that's it. I didn't even have shoes because when we were in the car and we were driving to the hospital, I took off my shoes because I felt like my feet were getting swollen. I had nothing, no toiletries, nothing, just nothing. It was just crazy. It was just ridiculously crazy because this was so unexpected. It came so out of the blue, completely unforeseen, and we were just on survival mode. Honestly, really grateful that we made the phone calls we did when we did, and we got to the hospital when we did after the delivery, and the baby was now stabilized in the NICU. The pediatrician came back and said, you know what, I was not happy with the situation, but boy am I glad that we acted when we did, because we would have been talking a completely different story. Baby surprise struggled to breathe a little bit after birth, but because the lungs were so not ready at the time, and there was also something about the acid. There was too much acid in the baby's blood or the baby's tummy. I don't remember. I really don't remember. I still need to get back. And I said to the pediatrician, when all of this fog has been lifted, I'm gonna make an appointment. You can bill me for it, but we need to talk through what happened, help me understand exactly what was going on, because honestly I was so out of it, I barely remember stuff. But I also had to film this and make sure that it's documented. I couldn't do it when I started it back in hospital. It was just too raw, too emotional. I was still too hormonal. I still couldn't believe what happened. There's just tears everywhere, and so I've had a few days to sort of like let things die down and emotions calm down, and that's why I'm doing this video today. Yeah, that's basically how baby surprise was born. It was a complete surprise, I swear. This child is gonna be a whole adventure. I'm very grateful that Daisy's flight or fight response was to fight and get to me as quickly as he did. I'm glad that the school, Kiva's school, was able to get her ready and waiting for us. And I'm glad my gynae was so chilled and composed through the whole situation. And even though it is so sucky that it's been a whole 7 days, our baby is a week old and we haven't even had a chance to cuddle or hold or do anything that you would expect to do when you get a newborn baby. Given the circumstances, I'm really grateful for how things turned out, because I wouldn't want to be sitting here and telling you guys something different, you know. I honestly have got no idea how Dizzy's doing. He seems to be handling it really well, but knowing him, he's probably barely coping. He just doesn't, he's the kind of guy to be strong during a storm. But I know he will talk about it someday, so I don't really want to push him to talk now when he's not ready. But yeah, it was very traumatic. I am more worried about Kiva. She keeps asking about the baby, but we tell her the truth. She hasn't seen the baby, which is crazy for her, because when baby brother was born, she was holding him the very next day, whereas with baby surprise, because baby surprise is in the NICU, there's a bit of a delay. And for her, for Kiva, there's a bit of a disconnect. I'm honestly being as honest as I possibly can with her. I'm giving her enough information for her tiny little brain to process. I tell her the honest truth because I don't want her to think that we're keeping the baby away from her, anything like that. But yeah, that's basically how baby surprise was born. Major grand entrance, nobody saw it coming. Even my gynae was like, you have been perfectly fine this whole time, what happened? And I'm like, I really have got no idea. The sad thing is, I was blaming myself about the very next day after baby surprise was born, and I felt like maybe I should have done something different. Maybe I don't know, I should have just done something. But to be honest, when all the hormones and the emotions were dying down, I did do everything I could. Getting Dizzy on the phone, getting to the hospital, and making sure that baby surprise is delivered is what we could have done. It is what we were supposed to do, and that's exactly what we did, and that's why we're here today. I don't really want to guilt myself too much about it, because in all honesty, now that I look back, I'm like, maybe it was meant to be this way, because not only were we far from ready for baby surprise in terms of where the baby's gonna sleep, getting baby's clothes washed, packing hospital bags and all of that fun stuff, I was also not physically ready to handle a newborn baby as well as a toddler while recovering from a C-section. It has been crazy. I underestimated how active and demanding Peanut is while it was still just Peanut and Kiva and everybody was just healthy. Even with baby surprise still in hospital and just Peanut and Kiva here, it's still rough because I can't move fast enough. I can't pick up things. I can't even pick Peanut up at this point. I'm still in a bit of pain, and I feel like this is a blessing in disguise in a way. It's buying us time while baby surprise gradually gets stronger every day in the NICU. It's buying us time to get the baby stuff ready and me sort of heal from the C-section, so that by the time the baby comes home, everybody's mobile and we sort of know what we are doing. Because me and Dizzy, I feel like we were both so overwhelmed. There was one day we were just at each other's throats, and it was over ridiculous things, and I'm thinking, this doesn't even make sense, and yet here we are. It's because everything is just coming together and everything is just building up, and we needed time. I literally cannot imagine what it would have been like if baby surprise was here with us. Somebody was just gonna explode and it wasn't gonna look pretty. But yeah, that's basically how baby surprise was born. Baby's still in hospital in the NICU, but doing well every single day. Like literally there's nothing negative at this point. It's just that baby was born at 32 weeks, a total preemie, very tiny. So yeah, nothing negative. I mean, we can only appreciate life, right? And we can be grateful for the moments that we've been given. I'm not sure how ridiculously long this video is gonna be, so I'm sorry about that, but I really needed to document this because for me, this is a whole new experience. It goes to show when they say every pregnancy is different, every pregnancy is different. Crazy, because with Kiva I went through labor, I ended up with a C-section. With Peanut, we just waltz into the hospital with our suitcase and living our best lives, like we checking into a hotel room and we had the baby. And with surprise, it was like everybody halt and get this baby out safely. It was totally 3 different experiences, and for me this is a whole new learning curve. I'm still learning, still adjusting, still processing a lot of things. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I really needed to document this. I'm sorry it is ridiculously long, but it is what it is. Thumbs up if you watched this far anyway, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you besties on the next video. Bye besties.
Tonight we're running on the right track.